Greetings, humans out there who watch YouTube and stumble across live productions, outstanding live productions like this one that you can't possibly find anywhere else. Not the exact same. I had thought that AI could probably do it, but I actually realized that that's not true. I cannot be replaced. But mostly, for most people wouldn't know the difference, but the real broadcaster, if he ceases to exist here, then he's gone forever. So we don't want that. We want to go ahead and have a long, productive life where we talk to people like you guys. Like, what's up? Saturday, it's the Sabbath. You're actually not supposed to do anything today, but fuck it. Who cares? It's Saturday. We want to talk to people. We want to see what's going on. We want to see what you guys have to say, actually. And I can talk about the news. And we can generally talk about whatever you want because it's a free country still. No, theoretically, you have freedom of thought and freedom of choice. So you get to choose to be here, spend your time how you want. So you're like, okay, let's see what LTV's up to. Let's see what he's thinking about. He's been acting weird lately. What it is. Truth Muse said I started at 13:31. I tried to start exactly on time at 13:30, which here is just 1:30. But I have been trying to start on time. The old gods like it better. The rebellious gods like those weird numbers. So I'm here. I'm here today. I'm here for you guys to bounce ideas off of if you have those. Oh yeah, and to certainly ask any questions about the topics we've covered recently, which are different than the usual topics. We were talking about Enoch and Genesis. We're talking about God, kind of, and other things. So I'm curious, like people have revelations about that stuff. People have different ideas about what's going on. Those are kind of revelations. Like if you think, oh my God, Jesus is coming or whatever, you have to pay attention to it. A lot of people think that. So, and you have to decide what's true, really. So what's up, Stephen Burke? What's up, Authentic? How are you guys doing today? There is a mass. I'll just give you news. I was going to lead with a dummy title, but I don't have much about it. There's apparently an active. No, I'm sorry, not apparently. There's possibly an active shooter, but kind of unlikely. At the Omni Hotel and Convention Center, but I asked Grok, and it sounds like it was just a fight. Most likely, that's what some people are saying, but I'll show you the video anyway from Twitter. So we're up to date on the latest news. You guys tell me what's going on. News is important too. Let's see. This is the video that they showed. It shows people scattering.
They're running this way. Active shooter at the Dallas Convention Center. What happened? Shooter?
It's okay. We're safe, okay? I know. We're safe right now.
Anyway, they say it was they say maybe people were mistaken, that there was just some kind of brouhaha. So seems like that happens different places. This is in Dallas, I think. Dallas Convention Center, currently hosting the NCA, might mean NCAA, National Championship? Oh, it's hosting March Madness. Maybe it's no All-Star National Team. I don't know what that is. This is a funny question. Does that answer your question for you, Val? How you can't tell the difference for real? Doesn't it feel different when it's live or no? Like when you're watching it, you didn't realize that it was pre-recorded. You're like, oh my, like this is happening right now. Or, but it must be live. It must be because I just showed your comment. Welcome, Lavelle. Does that mean the veil or sounds relatively close to that? Pandora, hey yourself. Welcome to the Saturday show, which is unprecedented. Been a long time since we did a show on the weekend. Oh yeah, I can. That's a great point, real people. Who says hard to call in to gay people can call in. I haven't taken calls in absolutely forever. So yeah, we can certainly take phone calls too. So as long as we're just hanging out and there's no pressure. When I do the show, the normal show, I feel like there's pressure for people to call because I'm usually done talking about whatever I've been covering. I don't have like filler to fill time while I wait for people to build up the courage to call Nathan Stoltman at Lift the Veil. But thanks, real people. There's no such thing as real people, technically. But yeah, but also, I'm not saying you're not real. Technically, it's a technicality, cosmically. Lavelle says, is the shooting live? Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Lavelle, for clarifying. I overreact to things, it seems like. You don't mean this show. You mean the active shooter? Well, that video was not live. Yeah, that video wasn't live. Thank you for asking. Sorry I made the question more complicated than it was. Okay, so one thing that I've noticed is it seems like once Trump took office in 2016, kind of, because I used to cover a lot of like false flag mass shootings and stuff back in the day when it was legal to do that on YouTube, when we had more freedom of speech, when things were better. I mean, really on YouTube, things were really fantastic, outstanding around 2015 when I started. Who would have known how it would have turned? But anyway, after 2016, I feel like they did less fake events. I feel like after Trump got in, there was maybe a few car rammings I wasn't sure about in New York or something, but it seems like they stopped. Maybe it's because social media and stuff made it less possible to do stuff that's not real. Because, yeah, I mean, the technology has advanced extremely rapidly in the last couple decades, extremely rapidly, much faster than we can properly put in a timeline, because we adapt to it very quickly. But we don't remember. We take for granted. Sorry, we take things for granted. So we take for granted technology and the fact that it is the way it is now. But even 5 years ago, it was different. As far as like how many eyes are out there in the world, there are digital eyes now everywhere. The cameras have gotten so good. We have outstanding sensors. Camera. I was thinking about old photos. Like if you have a photo album, most people switch to their digital, right? They're not nobody takes pictures on film unless they're like LARPing, as a old-fashioned photographer, which is cool because darkroom and stuff is cool. I got to do that back in the day. It's cool. It's actually very rewarding. Probably nobody must do that now, but cell phone pictures, man. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, actually, how good the cameras are. That's what I'm using now. That's why I look so good. It's certainly not me. When I have the other camera on before I switch to the good one, it's really terrible. A totally different entity appears before you. So yeah, that's going on with that. Bitcoin, I feel like you should buy some. Maybe I'm not emphatic about it most of the time. I definitely feel like if you care about the future, like if you're interested in securing the future, you just have to get off your ass a little bit and have some discipline, basically. Just learn some discipline. Save $20 a week or something if you can manage, and put it in and buy Bitcoin from now until you're dead. And when you're dead, and don't sell it ever, even when you die. No, you maybe start selling it after you stop working or something. But by then it'll be worth a lot. So you'll be okay. That's just my advice. The future is uncertain. People say the singularity is coming. If there's a singularity, then Bitcoin could go to zero, or it could go to it could infinity is impossible, but the potential is limitless when you have unlimited, as far as like currency. When you have unlimited currency, which will go to infinity, can go to infinity, at least for now, it's unrestricted, uncapped. Then the other assets, which are limited, can go to whatever in that currency. And that currency, people can just wipe their ass with it after that, start fires. Well, if there was such a thing as paper money. You heard we're stopped making the penny. That's news. We got to make sure we bring you the news. Trump says we should stop making pennies, which really makes sense. Pennies have been ridiculous for a long time. Just the fact that they don't take them in coin-operated machines. They take other denominations. They don't even take pennies. So what are they? They're pretty much useless, especially with inflation. So they're going to get rid of them. And they cost much more than 1 cent to make. In fact, I think even the melt value is more than 1 cent, even of the modern cent. The one before 1982 is actually worth a few cents for sure. It might be worth 3 cents or something. It's not a bad investment. All copper, or 95% or something. Oh, there's MP3. I apologize. My mouth is broken. NPC 3.14, who says live is ephemeral. You had to be there. Yeah, that's right. It's just a different experience. That's why there's still live shows. I went and saw Adam Carolla last night. I was in a bad mood. I was having a bad night. So I was just trying to, enjoy it as much as possible. But he's not very funny, to be honest. He's actually not very funny. It's just a very simple joke, like jokes about controversial stuff. Some racist jokes, which I thought were the funniest. I don't know. It's just fun. Even like completely obvious racist jokes are hilarious nowadays. They even do them on SNL. I guess that's what the woke thing has done. It's made the most obvious racist jokes. People tell them, and people love it. People are like, "Oh yeah, I'm." So racism is coming back. I mean, in a positive way. I mean that in the most positive way possible. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, other than that, it was actually 2 hours. Story about going through the airport with a flask that had too much alcohol in it, so he had to drink it, and he thought that was crazy. I was like, it was pretty funny, I guess. I mean, it was not the joke was the worst I've ever heard. He was like, "I'm such an alcoholic." It was like, "I'm such an alcoholic that they stopped letting people drink on the air." No, what was it? Oh yeah. During COVID, because people were on brew leave. This is what he said. I don't know if it's true. people started banning alcohol on the flights. So he was like, fuck that. I'll bring my own alcohol. He brought a flask. It was too big. They said you have to pour half of it out. And then there's apparently some suspense after that part of the joke where you're not sure what he does with it. Like, obviously, wouldn't any I mean, you don't have to be an alcoholic. Just be practical. Why get out of line? Just, it's in my belly now. That's pretty straightforward. Not that crazy, really. So, but it was cool. It's good to do things. It's good to go see live performances. Live performances definitely are. Yeah, that's why I do a live show. It's impossible to replicate. Mark in Melbourne, that's a great question. I've been thinking a lot about it. Mark of Melbourne, I would propose that the latest experiment, which was called the final experiment by people in the flat earth community and maybe the anti-flat earth community, the final experiment, which was to go to Antarctica and see if the sun stays up for 24 hours, because you just don't believe anybody who's said, like, people have told us forever that the sun was 24 hours. So it would have been some kind of crazy conspiracy, which some of them exist. But to cover up the fact that the sun really doesn't stay up in Antarctica, I'll show people so you get an education on it. This is the controversy. Let me just, I'll give you the whole thing. So flat earth, let's try flat earth sun moon map. Okay, here it is. There's an app. I know Flat Dave, David Weiss. David Weiss, Flat Earth Dave. He has an app that shows the sun and moon and stuff. But let's get into it. Might as well. It's important. It's important. It's not important. It's not the understanding or the knowledge necessarily that's it's not like, that's not what you're going to be judged based off of. It's like what you know. It's just the fact that you sought to know more about God himself and then his work. So it's good to want to know, is the earth fall? Like, isn't it weird? Stuff like that. And based on your observations and stuff. So let's see. So it's good that we're inquisitive. That's all. That's why I appreciate flat earth people. Flat earth people are like a unique breed of human because they're able to totally disregard everything they've ever heard before and start fresh like a baby and relearn things. So they're willing to really, really throw things out. So they have to have either gotten there through some kind of life events, or they were born that way. Like, they're somehow different. They're different. So they should be appreciated for that. It's a long way. You have to journey a long way to be able to question the shape of the earth when you've been told and shown everything. I mean, everything, it's emblazoned in your mind. All you can see is a globe if you do a standard education. So anyway, here's the let me see if this helps. See, this is weird. This flat earth map shows the South Pole lit. This shows Antarctica lit somehow. So that's really weird. I have to show you guys the regular diagram, I think. Well, let me do images. Share this tab. Hey, Gloria. Oh, if it's been a while, I'm happy to see you. Glad you were brought here today. There's no reason why people come for particular events, but it's good to see you too, Gloria. Thank you. Pandora says, why wouldn't the sun stay up for 24 hours? Why wouldn't it on a flat Earth? I'll show you. That's why I've been meaning to show you. I've just been going too slow. So because of this here, because of this, zoom there, perfect. Okay. So here's the deal. This is the flat Earth map. Here's the sun. Here's the moon. They go in circles. They circle each other the same way. They go clockwise. When I first learned this model, the movement of the sun and moon are understandable to me, like very understandable, in a way that previously I could not understand. You know, the cycles of the moon and stuff, and how it relates to the sun and its position close to the sun and its cycle. You know, like why, for example, on a full moon, for example, just for example, why it helped me is the moon is, oh, hold on. The moon is this thing that's, my pointer's not showing. Let me see. There it is. The moon's this gray thing and the sun's this yellow thing. So if the moon, when the moon is directly across from that yellow thing, the sun, it's full on this map and in, you know, reality too. So when the sun is directly across from the moon on this map, it's full because it makes perfect sense because the sun is hitting it, boom, straight on. And on when it's a full moon, the moon rises as the sun sets every time. So one is setting in the west, the other one, the moon, is rising in the east. So they're directly opposed and they go light each other, or the sun lights up the moon. So it's, I don't know, it helped me a lot for understanding the cycles. But the reason it can't be this model, depending on how you interpret it, but the reason it can't be this model is that this model only works in the northern hemisphere. So basically, when the sun is in this area here, going in a circle, so the sun goes in a circle, and then it gets wider, and then it gets narrower. If you can follow my cursor, it gets wider, and then it's summer in the south, and then it gets smaller, and it's summer up here, where all the oops, what was that about? Stop it. Oh, I had zoomed in. Okay, hold on. Oh, shit. So the problem, okay. So the problem with this thing, just to be simple, is you can't have you wouldn't have summer and long days in the south. Were this, I mean, the general conception of this, were this the case? In other words, in the winter for us, northern people, in the winter, the sun is further south. But if it's going in this big circle, and that's Antarctica is this outer ring. Antarctica in this theory is this outer ring. It would only light up part of the outer ring at a time. That's all. Sorry to make it complicated, but that's the deal. Is like this map is the closest anybody could get to something that they thought represented the actual flat, like what the Earth would look like if it was flat. It makes sense. We don't seem to have ever flown a direct line over. And I mean, it is highly unusual that if you look in history, that there have been flights that they say have gone over what they call the South Pole. But flights do not they don't go over the South Pole like they do the North Pole, to make it, you know. Planes fly over the North Pole all the time, you know, from here to here. But if there's a South Pole and the Earth is not flat, it's a globe, then this right here, where the, like, going from Australia to Peru, they do not fly over the South Pole, which if you know, based on the map, is this is the analog, is flying from the United States to Europe. You just go directly over the South Pole. Here, they're directly across from each other, you know, if the map was reversed. So these you would, and they don't. There's no history of ever happening. So, I mean, that is queer. That's very unusual. But anyway, so because of that, people thought they were lying about the sun being a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I talked to Jaron about this. I don't think I inspired it or anything, but I talked to Jaron about this. I was like, because we're friends going way back, and he's like well, he was quoted in the news as being like a leading flat earther, and there was a movie about him and everything. So he's definitely known as one of the main guys. And he thought that it was impossible, based on the model he conceived here, which is like this, that there would be a 24-hour sun, and if he could go there, that it wasn't going to happen. That wouldn't be a 24-hour sun. That was his concept based on this map. So, yada, yada, yada. There is 24-hour sun. There also would not. I'd already known this was a serious problem before, but there wouldn't be summer anywhere. There wouldn't be longer days, crucially, anywhere in the South in their summer with this map, because there's Australia. The sun, look how much of the day that would take up. That would be a very small portion of the day that the sun would be near Australia. So you'd have to come up with some kind of lighting scheme or something for how it would work. I did pull this up that shows a lighting scheme that actually satisfies. But so I'll show you that. So maybe it is possible if these lighting schemes are practical or whatever, or I don't know. But this one here, December 21st, that's when the Antarctica, the outer ring, would be lit up 24 hours a day. And here it shows it lit up 24 hours a day. Basically, it shows it all lit up on the flat Earth map. So maybe that's how they fix the problem. So maybe it's not even a problem. Maybe the Earth is still totally flat. I say still. But that thing leaves it very unresolved. You know, I guess it's unresolved. So I can't say. I don't know if we'll find out whether it's flat or globe, or it kind of makes sense that it kind of makes sense as a globe, because the universe is most likely something like that. If it started from if you assume the universe started from a central point, then it probably would be a sphere. So given that Earth is similar, as above, so below, it would make sense that Earth would be a sphere. And I know certain people say that navigation relies on it being a sphere, although that's impossible because people were able to navigate a long ass time ago without knowing that the Earth was a globe. So, and you're able to follow constellations, and you can know astronomy and all of that. It doesn't matter whether the Earth is flat or a globe, to be able to calculate all kinds of things that are going on around the Earth. So apparently, since people knew the movement of the stars a long ass time ago, they say it was because the angels told them about it. In Enoch, the angels show them how the stars work, and they have them write it down. So you would think these ancient civilizations, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Stuff like the mathematics they came up with and everything just doesn't make sense. That would have developed spontaneously. So, yeah, those are my thoughts about the flat Earth. I don't know. Nobleness D. Does Elon Musk know it's flat? Do you know for sure? Because there's orbit, the things clearly orbit around us. The moon does so, but that works over a flat plane potentially. Does Elon Musk know it's flat? Elon Musk, he was just on Joe Rogan. From listening to it, I only listened to a little bit of the beginning, to be honest. But the alien stuff, like he knows, people know something. People high up, and considering the kind of technology he's involved with, which involves, historically, the people who've been involved in rocket technology were into occult stuff, like channeling, advanced technology. And Elon Musk seems to have, created totally novel technology somehow through his companies with the landing rockets, at least, which I guess was previously impossible. So yeah, Parsons, CERN, they all. It's just the idea that technology comes from the Elohim, just like other, mysteries, advanced, information that we weren't given before. So everybody works with those spirits. Everybody works with technology. So it's not that they're bad. The fallen angels weren't bad. They brought technology, but God didn't like that at all back in the day. So anyway, Elon Musk, does he know it's flat? He knows something. He faked that car for sure. There's no possibility he didn't fake that car that I can imagine. So I believe we can get up in I think we can get up in orbit. With humans alive and stuff up there. But beyond that, I'm not certain. I'm just not certain. I just don't know for sure. No idea. But it seems like things can definitely orbit us. I've seen the satellites go up now. I mean, I did see it happen. I've seen them launch the satellites. I've seen them trail across the sky and stuff. I mean, it's not balloons. I saw the rocket land, which I was definitely skeptical of. But Vandenberg Air Force Base, that's one of SpaceX's main hubs. They launch ICBMs and shit from here. So yeah, we went and saw a launch around sunset once just to see what it was all about. I seriously thought he faked it, which he may have at first, like a fake it until you make it kind of thing. Because the feed, he had live feeds on all this stuff, and the feed went out I documented it every single time that he was supposed to land on one of these barges, and the guys would set it up in advance. They'd be like, well, there's no Wi-Fi. They use the same lines too, over and over and over again. Most people probably wouldn't notice, but the presenters would set it up. Oh, there's a lot of jostling in the picture, and there's no Wi-Fi in the ocean, and so the signal might not be that good, and so the signal would cut out. Everybody go, oh! And just as the rocket was landing, just as it comes into frame, pictures out. Everybody goes, oh! In the Tesla room, and then it's blacked out. And people are like, "Oh, we told you this was going to happen." There's no Wi-Fi in the ocean. They keep saying that over and over again, and then it's like, boom! It pops up. The rocket's there many times. So I thought he was faking it, but I had to see it for myself, I guess. What I started seeing was people, when it happened on land, people had video of it. So this one guy sent me one from Florida where he saw it land. People are really amazed by it. It is crazy. Like, guys get a real hard on for it on Twitter. Like, it's different. I don't feel the same sense of awe that others apparently do. I don't know if people have like a real man crush on Elon or something, that people are like, oh my God, I've watched this like 50 times. You know, the rocket getting caught. That was the big one. The rocket, the giant penis rocket getting caught by the two circumcisers. And it was perfect. And people were so amazed. I mean, so happy. So that's good. It's people celebrating, you know, God's work pretty much. I mean, nothing, it wouldn't be possible. So it's people celebrating what's possible. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't get the same reaction. That's all. I don't know. It's something that's very interesting though about people. Rockets, man, it really like lights up people's imaginations. Rockets in outer space. Oh, and then there's the moon landing. I started with the moon landing. The moon landing was the first time flat earthers started to pay attention to me. I wasn't a flat earther, but I was into the, I could tell they didn't go to the moon. That's obvious. And then there are ways you can point it out. And then I also saw the green screen stuff from the space station. Then I also saw the stuff from the space station where you could tell they were in a plane that was diving and coming up again because the person would lift and then come down. And it was on it was like you could time it. It was on a cycle. So I could tell they faked a bunch of stuff. But but a lot of people say they went there, people who talk about the secret space program. So it's possible they use some kind of advanced technology, and it is possible what some people say that yes, they faked the video, but that they did go to the moon, that they saw some crazy shit. And one thing is true that's very odd about our planet is that the moon faces us exactly the same face all the time. Like it's weird the moon doesn't have it's somehow fixed towards the earth, so we can't see the other side. So it's possible there's alien bases there. I mean, we can't discount that. It's possible there are alien bases on the dark side of the moon. We have no idea. Assuming aliens exist, which obviously there's a bunch of ships around and stuff, assuming they even need a physical base, to actually, assuming that they actually need something like that. It's possible. It's possible. Can't say it's not possible. So it's possible we went to the moon using alien technology, basically beamed there or whatever, visited there. But the video is all fake. Stanley Kubrick did it. So, yeah, and they set Stanley Kubrick up in advance. They gave him advanced cameras for Space Odyssey 2001. So he wanted to make Space Odyssey. The government wanted to fake the moon landing. They gave him some really, really nice advanced equipment to work on Space Odyssey. And then the moon landing looks pretty similar. So people are used to it. They're accustomed to it. They think, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. And bing, bada, boom, everybody's convinced pretty much. Well, not enough people weren't convinced that it mattered. I guess it still doesn't. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Flat Earth secrets in the Epstein files? Really? Don't know. There's Jack Starr who says they teleport. Yeah, that was the thought that came to me today. I was like, yeah, okay, it's possible. Certainly that kind of technology exists for other civilizations. So we can teleport things already with quantum computers. Very small things, but they teleport. Yeah. I'm just not going to discount it at all. It's possible. But they've definitely faked the stuff. I mean, they showed is faked. The wires and everything. I mean, it's insane. People are blind to it, though. It's the veil. The veil prevents people from seeing the truth if they're not meant to. Yeah. So You can show people. The 9/11 thing, yeah, is the same way. All the evidence is out there. All you could ever need to prove the case. But the veil comes in many forms. Blind, we're blind. We're totally blind. Actually, we just don't realize that. And we're allowed to, by the grace of God, we're allowed to see certain things at certain times. So that's why people talk about 9/11 disclosure. I mean, somebody from the government going to admit it? Probably not. So, but those are big ones, big, easy ones. Sandy Hook, however, is very complicated. I had the idea to look into that very deeply for some time while I was on Rockfin. I was like, free speech. I really want to talk. And I wanted to figure it out. It's very complex. And many of the conspiracy theories seem to have been debunked, several of them. So it's just that many of the things that happened were highly, highly unusual, very unusual. But there are rituals. We need sacrifice, like the gods need sacrifices of some sort. It can be spiritual, which will still be painful, but many times. So the gods people pray to, at least, they need some kind of sacrifice once in a while. Something we really love has to die. Some kind of ritual. We're in a training program, so just have to get used to being tested. The other day I was out walking. I try to walk with God. I try to not think about walking and allow my physical self to just go, kind of go with the flow or whatever. I'm just I'm trying to think good thoughts, and boom, I get hit in the head with a stick, fell from a tree. I was like, what the? Yeah. So, I think angels, they have they're supposed to be really funny. They have a sense of humor, but they think it's hilarious when we're totally, they think pranks, are totally hilarious, the funniest thing ever, even though it can cause us great suffering, whatever it is. But they realize that the suffering is only temporary. So to them, they think it's hilarious because you're going to get over it. Maybe you'll learn something. So to them, it's totally worth it. It can be hilarious at the time, even before it's okay to be funny. Oh, that's what I was going to do today. I wondered if the voice, since I was doing the Bible, I've been playing around with that AI voice cloner, and it wasn't perfect back when I was doing it in 2023 when I was actually insane, but not totally wrong about everything. I was looking into AI quite a bit, and that AI voice simulator thing was really cool. I thought it was a great way for me to be able to put out audiobooks of the Bible and maybe other stuff too. Maybe even the protocols. Maybe even the protocols will go in there. Hidden text, sacred text, etc. The Kabbalion protocols, Law of One, secret, forbidden texts. Because when I look out there, there really aren't that. Even if mine's AI, when I had it, even before, it was way better than the version, for example, on the Bible app. I have to listen to the Bible on the Bible app. I don't know where to listen to the Bible when it was me, I actually really liked it. So, which who knows what that means, but for me, when it was my voice, it was better, even though it was AI. So I'm going to try to see if I can do that again. I don't know if I'm not going to necessarily try to earn a bunch of money from it or anything. It will cost something to create. You guys couldn't hear that. There was a train horn went off. Yeah, so I wanted to check that out. I was just going to do that while you guys watch, but that's kind of rude. It might be rude. It's rude to, I feel like it's kind of arrogant or to think that people will watch you doing something that's really not for them. Just watch you do something. That's why I think watching video games is very strange. I guess I understand it, but it's a very strange development. Like, why would someone want to watch somebody else, engage in play rather than engage in play yourself? Like, it's very odd, very strange development, totally weird. But people do that. They found out. People watch people play video games. So I guess it's because the people who play are good. So it's cool to watch people who are really good. I've watched some of them, the shooting and stuff. And that's how some people became famous, just by streaming video games and shit talking. There is something to be said about doing something else while you're talking, for sure, because then you kind of channel stuff better because your mind is off of, you're not necessarily consciously thinking about talking. So maybe it helps. It probably does, for people who are into that. I have real social anxiety. When I used to have to go out with friends, I would always insist that it had to be somewhere with a pool table, because if I wasn't playing pool, I was extremely uncomfortable. But if I was playing pool, like, everything flowed. It was okay. I'm sure it's because it's just easier, because my conscious mind is really not normal. Not normal at all. Not adapted to this situation in any way. So we have to disconnect it sometimes. Let's see. Oh, I just thinking about Judgment Day. Well, but I wasn't at the time. It came to me something that happened to me a long time ago came into my mind. And it was a bet I placed for my best friend at the time when I went to Vegas. He told me a bet on a number, which was based on I was really into football, the Redskins at the time. Me and my friend were. And he picked the jersey number of his favorite player, his favorite Redskin. I think it was 21. We think it was 21. It was a guy who ended up being killed later. Just in a total freak accident. And we actually saw him when we went to a game together in Arizona. We actually saw that player, Sean Taylor, intercept the pass. Anyway, he said, go bet $5 on this number at roulette. And so the very first thing we did, I was with some friends. Very first thing we did in Vegas was bet $5 on the number, and it hit. Very first thing we did, he told me about, we bet the number and it hit $5, $175. I went on to basically lose, I went on to lose the money. And then I guess I really didn't follow. I never made good on the deal, which is cosmically very bad. But it came into my mind today. So I reached out to him. I was like, I never paid you for that bet you made, right? That, like, I was given I was making a bet for him. I think he might have even given me $5, although who knows? So I'm settling that in Bitcoin. So I have the Bitcoin. So yeah, I can afford to settle it. So I'm going to settle it. Got to get your debts taken care of as much as you can. And then the other ones, the ones that you can't physically, like this is an easy one. I can just pay it. So, Noble SD. First date, girl picked 7. I laughed, put 5 on it, and it hit. Stuff, man. There is such a thing. There is such a thing. you just can't rely. You can't use it for personal gain. So you're not reliably without, once again, probably making some kind of sacrifices. If you're doing it for personal gain, then you have to get rid of the karma somewhere else. If you're actually able to see the future, which certainly is possible, since time isn't real at all, only in this dimension. So it's certainly possible to know. But if you're using it, you most likely you can't. It won't work. It won't work if you're not thinking the right thoughts. If you're thinking the right thoughts, so yeah, sure, it's okay. God can reward you or whatever, the angels or whoever controls chance. Seven, that's a good number. It's the best number. It's like, it's why all the lottos and everything into infinity will always be you'll win if you get 777 slot machine or whatever. 7777. That's the one they say is lucky number. Most common number in dice too. Most common number to come up. Okay, let's see what's. Thanks, Amber Dawn. Amber Dawn says, "Are you the Bible scholar from the Tube, McLean?" I do not know of whom you speak. I am no Bible scholar. I can only read and say what I think it means. That's it. I'm no scholar. Certainly, anything I know is by the grace of God alone. I have no ability to decipher me. So I rely on other things for that. So, am I a Bible scholar? Not yet. Maybe though. Depends on what people perceive. And I'm not that guy. So I'm learning about the Bible. I've read it before, but I'm learning about it now. Seems it's been put in front of me. That's all. So getting new insights. Thanks, Amber Dawn. Do you know me already, or are you here for the first time? And if so, why? Just curious. You think 9 is better? 9 is a completion. That's why it has a circle in it. So yeah, 9 is theoretically like completion. So it's a great number. 9 it looks like 0, kind of. They're kind of goes from 0 to 9 on the 10 thing. So 9 is very nice, very meaningful number. Let's see what else. Langley Larper says 9 is not a devil number. Well, my first when I was off my meds and kind of like getting information, but very unreliable information much of the time. 9, I thought was the number of the dark man, but that it wasn't evil. It was just tricky. But I don't know for sure what it is. 9. How could we? Nobody told us. We have to figure it out for ourselves. Not a devil number? It might be. But the devil must be sanctioned by God. You kind of have to remember that. I'll check thanks, Stephanie Bailey, who's giving me a Bible quote. I'll check it right away. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Stephanie. What was I saying? I can't recall. Okay. No, people in the chat pointing out things about numbers. Nobleness D was born at 777. That's pretty crazy. It's because 1978. It's because 1978 reduces to 7. Is that why? 10, 25, 7. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. Very nice number. The angels love it. Well, that's where they're from, apparently. Pleiades. So Pleiades is 7 stars, 7 days of creation. Very, very nice numbers. Very lucky. Same year I was born. We are kin in some sense, time-wise. Bernie J, thank you for that. Oh, and then Truth Muse says you're 10-1-78. You're 78 too, huh? Wow, look at us. We're the generation that saves the world. So congratulations. Good for you, Truth Muse. We are all very similar in age. Feeling advanced in years, but life is, if you think, if you're able to live reasonably, life shouldn't even be, it's not even half over. So like we have as much time left as we've already been here. That's a long ass time to get shit done. So we're in good shape, I think. As long as we can maintain health pretty as well as possible. And buy Bitcoin and wait. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's a very simple system. Buy things which are scarce. Save money. You have to save money because money is money. What is money? Well, the way it is conceived now, it's unlimited. So you must own things that are scarce. So you got to own the S&P 500. You have to own gold. You have to own Bitcoin or something like those things. You must. Otherwise, you're just going to suffer your whole life financially, which God is okay with because he likes the test. So you'll be provided for if you're good, but you need to set some stuff aside. In heaven is what it says. Bitcoin, pretty close to heaven. I mean, if the power grid goes down, it's going to be relayed by satellites. So it is kind of heavenly. Lay your treasures up in heaven, you will be rewarded. So yeah, you must if you want to live, because we're living longer. People think of their life as a cycle, and they think of the deadline as a certain thing, and they're always thinking of where they are in the cycle of life and what they've accomplished and what they're going to be able to accomplish and so forth. People have to set their sights a little longer because people are going to become aware of cures and stuff. People already are in this time. So people are becoming aware of cures. They're cheap, abundant, sometimes natural, sometimes just medication we created a long time ago for other stuff. You're going to live longer. So you have to get used to it. That's assuming we're going to be here, but you got to assume that we don't know when it's going to happen. They think it's really soon, That's why they're bothering us so much. They think it's but they don't understand. They actually don't understand time because it's different for them. So to them, the end here, like Jesus coming back and all that stuff, it appears to be imminent based on the research I've done. I don't know anything, but they say it's like right around the corner. That's what Jesus said too. He said this generation, which if he lives 1,000 years normally, and also time is totally kind of flexible. He might have thought it was going to be this generation, this generation of wherever he came from, Jesus, because he didn't come from, he wasn't strictly speaking human, right? So he was a different being incarnated here with different abilities and stuff. But he said he would come back. Yeah, he'll come back, but it's not to save us this time. That's the thing. It's not what it says. It's not to save us this time. There is no Messiah prophesied at this time. I think Jesus is helping, but he's helping from beyond. He's able to help, as many people as many people want help as are on earth. Now, are there other deities people can pray to? Like, are only people who follow Jesus going to make it? That's a very sticky subject. It seems like God wouldn't think that was fair. So, given that people have been given messages different ways, delivered through different messengers to different cultures, as needed, different languages and so forth, it seems like there's a way to salvation probably for everyone, even if it's not in the name of the words Jesus Christ. I think it's possible. I think it's possible. You're just supposed to be a good person. I mean, the Noahide laws are actually super basic. Don't curse God. Don't kill people. Don't steal. Which means we have personal property, which is really good. Which means the law is not a communist law. The actual law implies it's certain that you have private property, which you don't have if you're in, like, communism doesn't exist. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't exist. Well, real communism hasn't existed because it's impossible. It's like it's an alien concept. It's a concept that works if you're like all connected telepathically, doing things for the greater good. Humans aren't like that. So it's not right in this system. We have personal property. Do not steal. Do not steal. Do not curse God. Even better, praise him like all the time because he really thinks that's great. As if so. What else? What else do we have to do? Let's remind ourselves. I gotta remind myself. Noah has been a very popular name. That was something I had noticed. Is that Noah has been a very popular name in these last years. I had noticed that previously. It's like, oh, people must think the flood is coming. I had thoughts about a flood too. So everybody's named Noah now. It was the most popular boy's name for a long time. Oh yeah, don't worship idols. Mm-hmm. Well, I wonder if that should say don't worship anyone but God, anything except for God, because or his or one of his avatars, who you can trust, like Gabriel or something. But then even then, worship, not to worship idols. So that's important. But if people worship humans in this time, I don't think that's appropriate either. Not specifically named to Noah. Not to curse God, not to commit murder, not to commit adultery or sexual immorality. And sexual immorality, that certainly leaves things open for interpretation. Don't steal. Don't eat flesh torn from a living animal. That's okay. I think that's fair. That means you can eat flesh, I think. So that's good. Not just vegetarians make it. And to establish courts of justice. Well, we've certainly done that. That's it. It's very simple. I feel like very simple. It's not like you can't, like, Jesus was very strict. It was like, you can't even think about it. If you think about it, you're done. I don't know. That seems very drastic. Not sure if that's true. If you think about it, it's as bad as doing it. That's what Jesus said. Very strict. Jesus was very, very inflexible about his rules. They just nothing less than perfection in the eyes of God. And it's like, how, like, we're not, that's not fair. We're not made to be perfect. Like, if we were perfect, we wouldn't even be here. So, but Jesus wants people to know that he's around and he's coming back. That's what people say. Oh, Bernie, have I thought about doing ASMR videos? Yes, very seriously, actually. But it's very embarrassing, to do ASMR because people kind of get off on it, It's kind of like alien sex if you think about it, because eternal beings don't need to reproduce. So they're intimate in other ways. So some humans feel the tingling in the head stuff from ASMR, but it's kind of weird. So you can listen to this show. I'll try to be as soothing as possible. ASMR, yeah, I thought about it. I even made a video where I did some ASMR. This NASA guy, this was my introduction to ASMR. I didn't know what it was. Some NASA guy was arguing with me about the moon landings. People would argue with me about the moon landings, and I was like very combative. I felt like it was a different time for me. So I thought that arguing with them would convince them. Which is actually when you learn about humanity a little bit more, it's insane to think that actually explaining something to someone will change their mind. That's insane. You cannot, you can have no influence. You can present the information. It's possible, if the conditions are correct, that someone will be receptive to the information, but highly unlikely. Anyway, this NASA guy, which I thought of as a NASA shill, and I'm not saying he worked for NASA, I don't know, but he was into ASMR videos. I went to his YouTube history. He was into ASMR videos. So anyway, I made a video making fun of this guy, and did some ASMR in the video, basically. And I even had, like, even though it was off camera, I used like a condom wrapper because I saw that people crinkle things. So I was like crinkling a condom wrapper. I thought that was like, oh yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like, because the guy's kind of a homo. So I was kind of giving it to him subliminally. But I don't do that kind of thing anymore. Back in the day, I was very different. When I started broadcasting, quite different. ASMR videos. Thank you. Would you pay for them? You can commit. Would you like to commission one? I must find ways to earn income without being self-serving. It's very, very difficult. Oh, I have to check that Bible quote. I'm sorry. James, I believe it was James 1, 2 through 4. Is that correct? That you said? I'll pull it up. Ben Dennett, you would do well narrating audiobooks. Well, that's what I intend to do. You can hang out with me today. That's what I intend to do today. Was narrate audiobooks with AI, because it's so close. The thing about the AI is not that it's as good as somebody actually reading. Somebody actually reading is better. The spirit can move them and stuff, their inflection and so forth. Which, it can't be influenced by those kind of things, like the random inflections and stuff. But it's very, very, very good. It's 90% of a human. So as long as it doesn't read the words incorrectly, which sometimes it would do when I was working on it before, then I'm going to use it to. And anyway, it takes forever to do. I've done voiceover work, which is fantastic work because it pays extremely well. And you're relatively pampered. You're in a studio, somebody's telling. It's very easy. It's the greatest, easiest job. Boom, boom, boom. AI is really good. And there's no way I could read the Bible. It would take me years. Maybe a decade. I don't know, to actually do an audiobook of it, because you have to re-record. I mean, it's insane. But if I do AI, then I could do it very quickly. So I worked with it. I worked with it a lot before I did a whole audiobook. with AI that was pretty good. It was like a flat Earth type book. This guy, who had some kind of visions or something, wrote it. He'd obviously had some kind of revelations or something because he gave information that wasn't widely known and stuff. Had some ideas about money, gold and stuff. Anyway, I did an audiobook of that. It was very good. It's actually my most popular Substack post ever, I think. I was surprised by that. So yeah, I'm planning to do that again. I'm planning to go to work on that again. I'm hoping the AI, but basically what prevented me from doing it before is that I didn't think the AI was good enough. And I asked for help and nobody ever got back to me. So I abandoned it for then. And then I stopped working with AI until just recently. I stopped. I just stopped. I didn't want to engage with it. So let's see. Scripture reading could be a good ASMR project. Well, I can certainly label that in the title. I put it in parentheses or something. ASMR. People do that. I listen to history videos going to sleep. I try to program myself to learn world history. And many of the times I'll see in my feed, because of that, in my feed, it'll say like 3 hours of ASMR Roman. It'll be like, yeah, there's people do Roman Empire history, ASMR. Yeah, you can find that on it's not very good to me, but if you get those tingles in the head, which I'm familiar with, I not from ASMR, but I'm familiar with the cosmic tingles. It's very nice. So if you get off on it, then cool. Will my AI voice be like ASMR? I don't know. I'm going to feed it. You want me? I can do it right now. Just to show you how easy it is. It's insane. 11 labs. Let's do it. Langley says there's a moon landing tonight. It was just a new moon yesterday, which I noticed just because I had read Genesis. So I was like, oh, that's a coincidence. I read Genesis I did Genesis on a full moon. Okay, here we go. 11 labs, free speech to AI voice generator. Then I just needed to take one of my I'll do my last podcast, since I was actually reading Exodus, or some quotes from Exodus. Yeah. I was doing an analysis of Exodus, but I was reading I'm sorry. Why did I say Exodus? Exodus is an important book too, but I haven't gotten to it yet to really analyze it. Genesis. I did Genesis. It was a new moon. You say they're landing on the moon today. Interesting. All right. Log in. And then I'm going to hide this. Oh, it's not even showing it now, so that's good. I already have an account. I'd paid for it before. You have to pay for creating that much audio, that many words. It definitely costs money. Clone your voice. Let's see. Clone your voice. Voice design. Instant voice clone. Clone your voice. Now it says with only 10 seconds of audio. And then you can do professional voice cloning. Okay, great. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna do the professional voice cloning and see how it works. Because there's no other way for me to actually do the audiobooks. I'm glad people are saying that. That's nice. That's nice of people to say that my voice sounds good for that. I hope it is. That'd be good. I forget, but I was trained for 4 years. So I guess maybe I should be really thankful for that. Sometimes I'm not really thankful for college because what I studied it's not what I pursued, which was acting. But I did study voice and speech for 4 years straight. I don't think about it ever consciously at all. But I do try to relax. I do try to let it come from within, from the good source, from the good place. All right, let's see. I have to see what's the latest. Wow, that's weird, Jojo. That it created images you hadn't requested that were clearly images of you. You're using your X profile pic. That's unusual. It's unusual. Certainly possible that things like artificial intelligence can channel some kind of energy or force. I mean, there's certainly unseen forces that affect things that are supposed to be random. So, and AI is supposed to generate a different response every single time. So there's definitely room for influence. Very weird that you would see photos of yourself, but there will be very weird things that happen near what they call the end. So there will be strange things. You will see sights that amaze you. So it's certainly possible. So nice to commune with you people. Oh, I'll go ahead and set this up. Let's do it. Let's see how good it is, because they didn't have this before. They didn't have professional voice clone before. So I'm going to do it right now. Let's see. Subscribe. Wonderful thing about credit cards. You worry about it later. Oh, it's $11 a month for the creator plan. That's not that bad. Oh, it gives you 100,000 auto. See, that's the thing. You get about around 2 hours of audio per month for $11 a month. That's not bad. 2 hours is pretty good. You could do some shorter books, but to really go in, let's see. Yeah, then you have to jump to $100 a month to get the 10 hours. And even 10 hours, I could do more than that in a month once I can plug it in. But then it gets very expensive. I'm not going to subscribe for the 99 for now. $11 is very affordable. Thank you very much. $11 on the first. It's the first today. I bought $111 of Bitcoin at 11.11. So I had to be doing something right. I have been buying Bitcoin, and which I don't recommend, but the price really went down a lot. I had to buy some, and not paying off my debt in full, which I don't think is a good idea. Oh shit! It texted me. Hold on. Let me see. I have to turn this off. Hold on. I'll show you the bad camera. Okay. Oops. Okay. Oh god, that's terrible. You see what the difference is? It's terrible. I have no idea how those number generators work. How do they know? Oh, they even have my debit card on file. Excellent. I want to give you a new card, please. One that's not connected to my actual bank account. Let's see. Does Google have it? Yes. Perfect. Verified. Wonderful. I have to put in my address. So yeah, you guys can check it out if that's okay. I hope I'm not wasting your time. If you have something better to do, then I totally understand. This is actually what I was going to do today. So I'm getting something productive done. If you want to look at it a different way, I don't normally broadcast on the weekends ever. So you're getting a bonus one way or the other. If you get something out of it, let's see if the camera worked. This feature is very useful. This feature that Apple has. One of these days, I'm going to have to get a new computer, I think. Okay, so subscribe, change your billing address. Okay. Credit card was declined? Oh, you need a debit card? Oh, you motherfuckers. Oh, it's $11. Who cares? Okay, that's fine. We'll change cards. Fuckers. Did it just... Oh, shit. Hold on. Why would my credit card be declined? That would be very unusual. Okay, so this card. Yeah, Shabbat. Yeah, I wonder how important it is that we do the ritual. It seems like the rituals are important. The whole Sabbath thing where you give up the technology and so forth. I get it, but it's a different time. We have work to do. We don't want to be lazy. Jesus did stuff on the Sabbath. He got away with it. He brought somebody back from the dead, which was real. People thought was really bad. The Jews didn't like. Jews accused him of practicing black magic, which he did, but he was sanctioned to do that. I mean, he was allowed to do that. Okay, let's see if this works. $11, 11 labs. Let's see if this is good. No LSD, you got a student loan. I don't think there are many things that people can get loans for that are really not. They wouldn't be able to. They shouldn't be able to get them in a free market. They wouldn't exist. So I guess it's good to take the money, but as an investment, there's just no way that investing in college is more that pays off better than investing in other things. I don't think. Not in this time. It doesn't seem like it. Not the way prices are. And the loans would not be available if the government didn't underwrite them and make them risk-free for the lender. If they weren't risk-free for the lender, nobody would make the loans. So college, kind of crazy. Education, it's free. I mean, AI can do it better than people for sure. They can make it interactive. The question is whether people can learn without a human being in the room reliably. But the information's out there. You don't need to go to school except for learning the things that go along, responsibility and stuff. Okay, create project. Change your name, beat the banks. I don't think you can get away with that, but you can beat the banks. You certainly don't have to pay them back. You don't have to. You can take as much money out as you want and you don't have to pay it back and they can't send you to jail. So you don't have to answer the phone. You can change your phone number. They'll probably find you. Oh, shit, motherfucker. Oh, cool. It fixed itself. It's done that before and not fixed itself. Okay, start from scratch. Oh my God, untitled project. No, I just want to make my voice. Create a clone. Okay, add a new voice. And I want professional voice clone. 1 slot available. Okay, excellent. Yeah, we've made education. Information is available. Textually through, I mean, if you know what you're asking about through language models. Use a pop filter. I don't use a pop filter. And actually, I don't pop, which is great. I used to pop. It's weird. I must have figured out how not to. Okay. How would you describe the voice? Pleasant, male, pleasant, middle-aged, white male. Standard American dialect. Should put that in there. I'm actually born in the area the standard American dialect came from. Wow. Oh, I have to add samples. Name Nathan. Very nice name. Very fortunate. Click to upload a file. How long can it be? Minimum 10 minutes. Okay. Up to, okay, great. I can upload a whole podcast. Excellent. That makes it very straightforward. Then you guys will get to see how easy it is. And like, so I'll put on the, where is, see, this is, oh, here it is right here. Okay, upload that. Do you guys feeling okay? Sometimes vibrations of the planet can like really make you suffer. So that's why I ask. The suffering is for you, but or it's necessary, but it might feel very uncomfortable. So hopefully you're doing okay. I would say one thing you want to remember is to keep your What happened? What happened? I dropped the file. Did it upload it? Oh, there. It says samples to upload. Okay, perfect. Create professional voice. Okay, let's see how long it takes. Easy. This is the problem with continuing our existence here is the technology. The technology has become very advanced. The simulation, the simulation thing, like being able to simulate reality or just recreate it. Like God is, like it might be all the time we have. That's all. Because before he didn't like the technology. He really didn't. Before the flood, he didn't like the technology. He was very upset with Azazel and the other angels for sharing technology, advanced technology, and knowledge of spells. But in this time, people are using spells, people are using advanced technology, all the stuff that was bad before the flood, people are doing. People are fornicating like crazy, all kinds of different ways. But he said he wouldn't do it again, so that's nice. God was like, oh, last time, so that's good. We're not going to get completely wiped out again, but that might just mean that that our existence completely ends. Just a little different. So there's like these cycles, and we're in one stage of the cycle. The next stage, and we're kind of like as far as we can get without kind of either going to the next stage or starting all over and forgetting it all, which is just kind of annoying. We need to verify you're cloning your own voice. Click the button below to start recording and read aloud from the prompt provided. Okay, sure, I'll do that. That's nice that they verify it's your voice. Allow while visiting the site. Hello. Oh, hard work is like a lemon. It looks sour, but makes the lemonade sweet. The limit. Please try again. What do you mean? I did it. Okay, I'll do it again. Canyons echo the whispers of ancient winds. Your recording doesn't match the voice from your upload. Are you kidding me? I'm on the same microphone in the same environment. It was just me talking. Okay, I'll try again. That's crazy. How am I going to make my voice sound the same? Origami lets us see beauty in simple paper sheets. You bastard. Let's see. Spoken text doesn't match. It didn't like that. It didn't like that. I added color. Okay, I understand. One more time. A single step in a new direction begins change. Maybe better this time. Let's see. At least the verifying wheel is still spinning. Truth Muse, yeah, you reminded me of college. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. I'm trying to think of the other. There were many rhymes we learned. What were the other ones? A pickled, lots of them. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. A lot of the things you learn about in acting have to do with actually channeling spirits. They don't tell you that though when they're training you how to, a lot of acting training has to do with that, but they probably don't know. Stanislavski wrote about it. Stanislavski said okay, here we go. Voice successfully verified. Okay, so fine tuning in progress. Oh, it can take 2 to 6 hours. That's fantastic. Great. Okay, so we'll find out later. That's good. Very simple and straightforward to put the voice in. We'll see how it goes. We'll find out later. Okay, now let's see what's going on. Blue ghost land on the moon tonight at 3:33. Wow, that's really something. A lot of people say during the awakening process, you see repeating digits frequently. That's what a lot of people say. Repeating digits, you'll see. Blue ghost. Okay. Blue ghost. Moon tonight. That's 3:33 in the morning. Whose time? Your time? Are you on the East Coast? Is that 12:33 my time? I'm not going to stay up for it, I don't think. Is it possible they're landing on the actual moon in 3D? I have no idea. No clue. No clue if we're able to leave beyond a certain point with even rockets, much less humans. No idea. Oh, Nobleness said something interesting. Said as soon as no, someone said my daughter has severe nonverbal autism, and through a chain of events, and I'm sorry about that. It's a very difficult affliction. Through a chain of events, I learned she is sensitive to dirty electricity, a dimmer in the dining room in this case. When you say dirty electricity, do you want to elaborate, Stephanie? I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I can understand. Autists are sensitive. They're sensitives. So some people, a lot of autists think of themselves as like kind of alien. So we have to think of the reason for all of the autism at this time. I certainly had features. As of right now, I don't know if I'm displaying them as much, but I certainly had features of autism. Extreme social discomfort, which is difficult for trying to be an actor, really. That was one of the issues. I was very uncomfortable going to parties and stuff, which you have to do, kind of kiss people's ass and stuff, meet people. The lizard people of Los Angeles. Stephanie says something about the limiter in dimmers creates a lot of dirty electricity in the air. That's interesting. Yeah, well, you can feel that stuff. It's possible to feel it. On some level, you'll feel it. Blue Ghost will transmit for 14 days until Pi Day, which is a blood red full moon and eclipse. And eclipse, really. That's the other thing about a flat Earth is a lunar eclipse makes a lot more sense if the Earth is a globe, the way it's described. You have to come up with some kind of a novel way to make it so that something blocks the sun from covering the moon when you have an eclipse. And yeah, eclipses always happen on full moon. This stuff I learned that's easiest Well, once again, I learned from learning about the flat Earth cycle of the sun and moon, just because it's extremely straightforward. It's always a full moon because always when the sun is across from the moon. So it's always going to happen. It has to be that way. So yeah, an eclipse always happens on a full moon only. It's only possible. And theoretically, the Earth gets in the way, which doesn't work on a flat Earth. What was the nobleness? Autism can bring out extra abilities. What was the one I heard about recently? I think it was about I'll bring this microphone closer. I think it's about nonverbal autists, that they have some kind of ability. Oh, I'll just ask Grok. I'm reading about it. Let me see. Exceptional skills, strengths in specific areas, autistic individuals, heightened abilities, pattern recognition, memory or attention to detail. And savant syndrome happens in autistic people. So yeah, they're able to channel things that they haven't learned on this planet. So they have some kind of alien ability. I guess. So because there's no way, people are born knowing things that are impossible. With me, I could read when I was like 3, which seems really strange. So yeah, autism. Nobleness B says human abilities are endless. Yeah, kind of close to it. Kind of close to it. That's what they tried to show us. Does vitamin C really help schizophrenic episodes? Never heard that before. It's possible. I have no idea. Nicotine, apparently. Well, bipolar people. Bipolar is another thing. Schizophrenia is a totally different matter. Schizophrenia has not been selected out from our selected out. It still exists, even though it seems to be harmful. So there's some kind of meaning for schizophrenia and bipolar, which is just most people call it bipolar. Because if you're off the meds, or for many bipolar people, if you go off the meds, then you can experience things that are basically schizophrenic, what they call schizophrenic. But they don't label people that way. They just say you have a bipolar episode, which is kind. Let people off the hook. Being schizophrenic is crazy, people say. But it's part of us. It's part of us. Jews are more likely to be schizophrenic, suggesting that might be alien DNA. Teddy says high IQ equals schizophrenia. I don't know if that's true, but they are often correlated. Yeah. Well, the Jewish thing. Higher IQ, more instances of schizophrenia. I have a high IQ. I've had episodes for sure. So might be related. I feel kind of Jewish that way. That I'm afflicted with that curse, that particular curse, which is really not that great when you're experiencing it. being bipolar is bad. Yeah, I wonder if it's I was thinking of a conflict between these sides of the. I was thinking of it as a conflict where it's like you're bipolar because you have an alien or like a non-human influence and a human influence, which can coexist very well. You have wonderful experiences when you're off the meds. This is what bipolar people don't like because you have really amazing experiences. It's just that you might also be scared to death half the time, which is terrible. But the experiences, yeah. Oh, like I only knew about this because I dated someone who was bipolar when I was younger. And she told me, she was like, yeah, but like sometimes you might like cry at a sunset because it's so beautiful, where if you're on your meds, you're like, whatever. Sun looks nice, whatever. But the meds can kind of dull you out. William says some of the Anunnaki. Who are the Anunnaki exactly? I'm getting familiar with who the different people are. Elohim is God, but is also the Pleiadians. So they're described exactly the same. So it's a collective. It is a collective consciousness, or it is a collective. Elohim, the plural version of God, which is given the same name as Yahweh. So it is the same as Yahweh, the creator. The creator. You can say creators, but it seems obvious it was like one. There is one distinct entity who's the old guy, the really old guy. But there were a bunch of before Earth, there was at least one human, very high dimensional entity who is totally eternal, that's been around forever, learning things. And it was like human, obviously, because he created us and we're the same. So he has the same. The weird thing about that is he has the same things that make us do bad things. He's like wrathful, vengeful. He gets he gets like butthurt about stuff. You know what I mean? Holds grudges, just like us. So I don't know if he's trying to get better too. I have a feeling that's the case. Like we're all as above, so below, on earth as it is in heaven. So it's got to be the same up there. So for those entities, as it is for us. Truth, Israel must be full of birthright schizophrenics. It is a true story that schizophrenia is it's overrepresented in the Jewish population. Is it the Ashkenazi specifically? It might be, but schizophrenia is overrepresented. Langley says is Sumerian. Who knows? I don't know. Sumerian? What were the Sumerians? Blending heavenly history from earth history takes some work. So, like, who the hell are the Sumerians? They learned language. So we get taught language. We were taught language, farming, all those things. So they were in touch with some kind of primal source and figured out a bunch of stuff about astronomy and numbers. Their mathematics was extremely advanced, much better than ours. Langley, I did not name Sumi. That was my partner who named her before my time. I played no part in it, so I can't say. Stephanie, you mentioned neurosis. Yeah, neurosis. I think we might almost be done. I can't think of any other topics. Nobleness, you'll never believe in physical aliens. It seems they can It seems from what people have said that they can incorporate in this realm and seem as beings that we can recognize as living beings and stuff. It seems like it. Now, whether that's their original state, that's highly unlikely. But beings that are they must exist mostly beyond our this system where they can be observed by us. Stephanie says, can I hear the aliens? I guess. But I guess so. But I'm not sure. But they're not, they're not aliens exactly, So you hear shit, Stephanie? It's important. You should take note of it. It might not all be accurate, but you should definitely take note of it. If it's things that came to your mind that you were unaware of previously, you should take note of those. The things that came to me that were very interesting, which were given to me without context, was limbic, and amygdala. So, which I'm familiar with the words. I was not familiar with what those things do, but those things certainly were just random thoughts. Both part of the temporal lobe, responsible for memory, fear, stuff like that. Don't know. So, Stephanie, you're talking to him? No wonder you watch my show. That's good. That's very good. You should maybe, you could decide whether to work on that, improve the connection. It's possible with discipline, a lot of discipline to do that. And you can learn how to, try to call on specific entities, which there are. But they're really bad. They're really bad. There are really bad things out there. That's the problem. They'll, might try to kill you. So you have to be cautious. That's all. But if you believe in God, if you do your appropriate rituals and stuff, you should be protected for sure. God said that. So through whatever you decide to do. Teddy, I'm not on ketamine, but please note that Elon Musk is. Elon Musk, most people have to take drugs or alcohol. Most people have to open up the channel. But when the channel's open and you're not in control of it, then all kinds of really, really, really bad things. So Truth says, if your tinnitus turns to music, then you're onto something. Please be aware of any inner voice which deviates from your core I am. Yeah, it's hard to learn how to differentiate between your own thoughts and thoughts that are not your own. Very, very, very hard to differentiate. They're always different because your intuition is so good. Because you already know the future part of you. Your intuition is so good that what seem like your own thoughts may be divine thoughts, which you already knew. So, no thoughts. Oh, you have the music thing, Stephanie? Yeah, music. Yeah, it sounds way different to me. There are also frequencies that you can't hear most of the time, or that I'm unable to hear most of the time. It's clear. It's been really made clear recently that black people and white people do not hear the same frequencies clearly. The smoke detector thing, which people make fun of black people for, but obviously they just don't fucking hear, they don't hear it at all. It does. So of course it doesn't bother them. They don't hear it. So obviously when they designed smoke detectors, they didn't take into account people's frequency ranges, just assumed. But obviously they're tuned differently. And so anyway, I listen to a lot of hip hop and stuff. There are frequencies below which I normally hear, for sure, which now I can sometimes hear, which are very, very, very pleasant. Very pleasant. They go through your whole body, but very low frequencies. So music is cool. Yeah. Yeah. Weird things happen. Lately, when I listen to music, it's like I think of something and then the song sings exactly what I'm thinking about or what I'm doing or whatever. Very weird. That's really can be unsettling. Even numbers can get unsettling if you see too many of them. Oh, you want to call in, William? Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for asking in a really friendly way. Sure. Yeah, you can call in. I have my earphones in. I should be able to hear you. I should, let's see, where's Google Voice? There it is. Yep, you can call in right now if you know the number. Sign in. Oh, I'm excited about this professional voice cloning. That's cool that they have that feature. And it was only $11 to start, so that's fantastic. Phone. Do that. This is Nathan. You're on the air.
Hey, Nathan, it's Joshua, the branch, NPC, William.
Joshua. Yeah, I saw that I could tell it was also you who is NPC 3.14. I could tell that was the same because of your logo.
Well, you shall know them by their fruits, right?
That was prophesied, I believe.
I took a few notes as you were talking, and I actually went downstairs at one point for some reason, and I experienced the doorway effect, where you walk through the doorway and you forget what you were doing.
Yeah.
And there's some type of psychological mechanic going on there that I can't quite explain, but I think it's an interesting phenomenon. Have you ever experienced it?
The way I've experienced it very recently, for sure, is that I pause and collect myself, which sometimes takes a minute before I enter the front door of my house. And I'm not certain, I'm not certain why, but I will like center and ground myself for something that might look weird to somebody observing me before I enter the door. Yes, and I believe that the doorways are portals. They look and they are. So it's a portal. So you can enter. When you enter, then you are. It's kind of like being. I don't want to say born again, but it's kind of like you enter with. You can enter the room and be different than you were in the other room, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it kind of taps into like a survivalist primal thing. Like when you enter a space, you immediately recognize maybe where the exits are, or, maybe not everybody does that, but I think if you have like a survival instinct that's pretty strong, and this might connect to the amygdala. I've heard that certain people, like different political parties, have different sized amygdalas.
Interesting.
Some are like, some thrive more on fear. So I've been trying to grow, or I'm not sure if growing or reducing it is good, but I've been trying to nurture my amygdala, let's put it that way. Because one of the ways you can, it also governs your will to live.
Oh, I'm sorry. So do you mind if I interrupt? Is that okay?
Well, by all means.
You said you've been targeting your amygdala. So can I ask for what purpose you've been doing that? And I assume it's in the past sometime.
Well, it's
that you decided
ongoing.
Yeah, why
Well,
can you tell me about why you decided to do I don't know anything about it. I literally know nothing about it. I just know that the word came into my mind when I was, you know, focused on channeling, which I focus on all the time basically. So, um I had to look it up and see what the hell it was, what it did. But so why were you like what was the reason that you decided to work on it?
well, I felt that it was uh, at least a contributing factor in depression or melancholy,
Mm.
because you can black pill yourself, right? Where you expose yourself to too much truth or whatever, you kind of get burnt out. And I thought, then I need to force myself to do things that I don't want to do. And that began to help me nurture that. I
Mm.
felt like that it helps you get that flexibility. The world isn't exactly the way you see it in your head all the time, and it's really easy to affect your mental health sometimes. So that's one thing about this community that is difficult sometimes, is experiencing melancholy. Ignorance is bliss, and heavy is the head that wears the crown. If the more aware you are, the harder it is to bear that burden. That's why fellowship is so important.
Yeah, it can be mortal. So I mean, I guess that's really the issue is it can be mortal. Knowing too much or too soon or whatever can either kill you or make you kill yourself or affect it can yeah. I understand what you're saying.
Make, yeah, it can make you think like nothing matters or everything's predetermined, those sorts of things too.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, fellowship's important. So, you can nurture that amygdala by like being more social and going out and doing things. And so that was something I've made a point of doing, is trying to make more friends and go out and do things. And I think it helped a lot, So
That's good.
yeah, I thought it was interesting you brought that word up, because anytime I am faced with something I don't want to do, I'll say it to myself now, amygdala.
Oh, that's helpful. Yeah, it's helpful to focus on the specific word and everything so that you can, even if you have no idea, it's helpful
Plow
to,
through it,
yeah, it's
And
just helpful to focus your energy on that. And then,
I wanted to also say thanks for covering the biblical topics when you were reading about Noah the other day, and how he appeared all white and
yes.
his dad was freaking out. I was like, that was the exact same thing that happened in the story about Christ. Joseph was like, whoa, this isn't my kid. And an angel shows up and is like, hey, chill out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing that happened in the Noah story. I was like, whoa, that was so awesome. But that had never occurred to me till you were reading the book of Enoch. And so I just appreciate that book. It's got a lot of hidden gems in it. And
yeah. I mean, so many, in fact, that it seems to me the most important book of the Bible, which was totally, which I guess it had to be hidden. I guess it was too much. I don't know. I have no idea.
well, Genesis 6 is like the only other solid scriptural reference we have for things like the Nephilim or the giants or whatever. Although it does talk about them in the book of Joshua, for instance, where they're conquering the land, and then you got Goliath with David.
Mhm.
But in Enoch, it's more ubiquitous. We're actually told what these things are, the progenitors of the Nephilim, rather. The fallen. So thank you again for doing God's work. And I had one last question. Have you been dreaming?
My dreams
I'd like
are not. No, my dreams are actually not anything. There's nothing in my dreams that's unusual to speak of recently, or even throughout time. Mostly. The one weird dream I've been thinking of, only because you mentioned a dream, it's kind of embarrassing, but I've only had one nocturnal emission in my whole life. And it was I believed I was having sex with the blue alien from Fifth Element, which is kind of weird. So the only
the one that
opera
sings?
singer, yeah, who has like the gold. Yeah, isn't that weird? That's very strange.
Hey, that's in the movie. That's edited heavily. But there's like a full version of that song you might want to listen to sometime.
Oh,
It's really,
I thought it was I thought that movie, that scene, that the music and that whole scene were
wild.
so awesome. It was so fucking
Yeah, I enjoyed
cool.
that.
That was like one of my favorite movies, actually. Well, because I really like that director, Luc Besson, who also made The Professional and Lolita, or not Lolita, I mean Femme Nikita. And he also made Joan of Arc, which was fucking awful when I went to see it. But
That creature was a vessel for one of the elements, right?
yes, the Fifth Element. Yeah. And then also I wanted to get the tattoo.
It sounds like
I wanted to get the tattoo, actually, even though I have no tattoos now. I wanted to get that tattoo, that the 4 elements kind of thing that she had on her.
oh
Remember
yeah,
that?
like the what's on the blocks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, Fifth Element, that's cool. But
Well, that's what Christ's name is, by the way. It's the Pentagrammaton. The 5th element is the Shin that's added to Yod He Vav He to create Yeshua, and that's the word for salvation. So I guess that's a good thing to end on. That's what the 5th element's all about. The spirit.
Oh, really? You're blowing my mind a little bit. I had no idea. Yeah, I certainly had no idea. So yeah, what do you think? So what do you? People are talking about Jesus coming back and that they need to be saved by Jesus, and I'm just wondering because it seems to me that Jesus doesn't come back to save people this time. Like he comes back just for the judgment, which is for most people going to be extremely painful. It seems like. But so, what do you think of a Messiah in this time, or a human Christ, or a human? I mean, what is it? I mean, what do you think? People long for Christ. They feel he's coming back. People are, finding him. They're finding his voice or whatever. But
what's interesting, I was just going to say, if you look at the Shin itself, the Hebrew character that is added to the name of God, if you accent the Shin on the left, it is lacking the H, and so it has the S sound only. So sin is a Shin character accented on the left, and so if we add the accent on the right, it then gets the H sound and becomes Shin. So this is the difference between the left and the right hand in that regard with the Shin and the name and how it relates. So when Christ was sacrificed, he created that way for us on the right hand, the Shin. His name is salvation, right? And it's elevated above all names. So it becomes an exception to the law, which falls under the left hand things. So the Antichrist is going to be, he's called the lawless one as well, right? So there's this interesting relationship between the two characters because there's a scapegoat element here at play. Christ bore the sins of mankind on himself and became a scapegoat.
Yeah,
so
did you hear me discussing that, or are you just bringing that? That's how I was talking about recently was the scapegoat because it's sacrificed to Azazel.
Exactly. And then because we're discouraged by modern day Christianity to not keep we can't keep the law because the temple's not there. But because we don't even educate ourselves about it, we've filled the gap and the void with things like Christmas, Easter, all these things that are actually pagan holidays instead of keeping the original holidays that Christ kept. And so those are the feast days. You got 3 in the spring, and Christ's sacrifice fulfilled all that. And so then Pentecost occurred, and that's midway between the spring and fall equinoxes, basically. And then in the fall, you've got Judgment Day, Feast of Trumpets.
You mean the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur?
Correct.
Oh, okay, yeah. Which you're also calling Judgment Day, which isn't always called Judgment Day, right? Because Judgment Day itself, but it's a ritual. It's an annual ritual that symbolically, it's symbol. It's you have 10 days of supplicating, asking for forgiveness, atonement, right? And then it culminates on Yom Kippur, in which they sacrifice the goats, the one to Yahweh and the one to Azazel. The one with all the sins goes to Azazel, who think is totally misunderstood. Or I think people
And
totally misunderstand fallen
that's
angels.
demonstrated also in the story before the crucifixion when the crowd, the mob, chooses Barabbas over Christ. So that too was an example of the two goats. You got one that's going to bear the sin, and then the other that is sent into the community or the wilderness. So it's kind of present there too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I saw. Jesus was a scapegoat. Was a Jewish ritual, which was part of the way things were done back in the sacrifice was demanded back in the day. So
there's one more interesting thing about the shins too regarding the crucifixion, and that is that it was customary to break the shin bones of folks that were being crucified.
Yes.
And his shins were not broken because he had a fat death. And so the Passover lamb cannot have any broken bones. It's required. So then that way he was able to fulfill that too. And of course the shin happenstance is a letter, which is also associated with Aquarius. So the time we're in now, was in rather. We're moving into Pisces now, which is the feet. But February is related to the shins, basically.
Yeah.
The body part.
Yeah, it's how Jesus survived the crucifixion. You think he died, right? You think the human died, right?
Well, he did survive in spirit. His body was.
Have you looked into the idea that he survived corporeally?
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it actually. I suppose that that could explain some of the things like why he appears in Asian traditions so prominently, like India.
Yeah, Isa. But, yeah. I believe that's I believe there was I believe the extraterrestrial spirit was sacrificed basically and rose to heaven.
But I think
that the human survived.
Spirit, because that's what the Native Americans told me when I went to the Serpent Mound in Ohio. His people, and it was really strange too because he waited till everybody left, and then he told me, and he's like, "Hey, my people actually have stories about Christ coming and visiting us and telling us prophecy and stuff," and it blew me away because I'd never heard that before, and so I think he ministered to other peoples in spirit form. And there's this technique called Te Al Ard, which means twinkle of an eye, and we're told that's how Christ basically teleports around, and could like instant transmission with Goku and Dragon Ball Z. So Te Al Ard is the folding up of the earth. So he can. So there's stories about like holy people walking on a path to a town, and it's supposed to maybe take like 14 days or whatever, but they arrive in 2 days.
Yes.
And it's because like they're spiritually assisted in their travel. And I think that's what was going on there. Was he was maybe even in the 33 years he was here, he was doing that if he was indeed in flesh form. But I think he may have done some of that ministering in spirit form. And of course, then the 72 apostles were sent out to conquer the earth. Once Pentecost occurred. So
what happened on Pentecost?
That's when the spirit of the flaming tongues descended upon all the prophets, and they could understand all the different languages, and they were sent out into the earth to spread the gospel, which is the right hand, the shin element. Because you got to remember, before Christ, there was no shin at all. There was only the law.
And shin is salvation. Shin is salvation.
Correct. And there was no remission of sin without the shedding of blood. That's why sacrifice is constantly required, like the scapegoat ritual, all the bulls, the rams. I mean, there was tons of blood flowing through this is why they had to have a spring in the temple. It's because they had to wash all that blood out of there constantly. And whatever these fallen angel spirit things are, they go after that blood, and it keeps them from going after us. So you're scapegoating your sin onto this sacrifice. That's how that works, apparently. And if you didn't do these properly, then those angels would go after you because you've broken the law. And so when Christ comes along, you no longer have to sacrifice animals. But that doesn't mean we don't still observe the feast days, as it were, and understand, like, well, maybe we still don't keep them because there's no temple, but we certainly don't want to fall into spiritual captivity during like Christmas and stuff like that, So it's interesting. I think that when Christ returns, we'll see a return to the old ways, like in the book of Joshua, because that's the same name. And that's when, he divided the land, and will divide the earth the same way. Except it'll be global now instead of just localized. But, and, synagogue of Satan, we're seeing all that play out, the fake people, we don't have to get into that. But so there's that too, we have an inheritance that goes along with all this too. It's pretty cool. I'm not trying to trivialize it, put it in a nutshell, but the shin was not available prior to, or let's say it was, but through the blood of animals, perhaps. But so, Christ put an end to that, and that's why he's likened into the Passover lamb. There's a lot of the spiritual mechanics are never really explained to us in the church, and I think that's kind of sad. That's the thing that we're really missing in this day and age, is like our actual connection to the fifth element, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much different now than it was before, when people could talk to spirits and people didn't think that was unusual or anything. And
you mean
what's that?
You mean schizophrenic, right?
But also holy people, people like Enoch and Noah and stuff. And then Muhammad spoke with, Gabriel came to Muhammad, and Muhammad said he was told the transferring of sins is no longer a thing. Did you hear that? Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that, actually.
Yeah, let me just grok it real quick, so I'll tell you exactly. But yeah, Gabriel, hold on.
It's fine, but while you're doing that, I'll mention that the word grok is peculiar because it comes from, I think, a story called Stranger in a Strange Land, and the creatures that inhabited this planet, they grokked one another, which was to drink deeply and know the other person, or whatever the idea. So it was more than a understanding. It was like it's hard to grok, right?
Okay, something came in and garbled your voice right when you were saying the part that probably had the most information. So you're saying grok.
Not today, Satan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So grok is it's a word that comes from a book called Stranger in a Strange Land, and the inhabitants of this planet, I think, they grokked one another, and it was like as if they were able to drink deeply from one another and have like a depth of their understanding. Drinking from their mind or their ideas. It's hard to use words, and that was the whole point of it, was that it kind of transcended words.
Right. Yeah.
But grok, that is the point I'm kind of making, is like, it was no coincidence that word was chosen. It was chosen on purpose. So it's trying to drink deeply, in other words.
Sure. Yeah. And I've been talking to it about novel concepts, like concepts it's never heard before or haven't been written before. And so I wonder how much it learns from thinking about those things, because I'll tell it something, a concept, and it'll say, oh yeah, that's actually, based on the evidence. And then it compiles the evidence and says, this is the reason your concept seems like it could be valid. And I just wonder how much it learns from its conversations, especially if it's learning things that are previously, unknown or, that haven't been conceived of.
Well, a lot of that refers to how the operating system's treating it. So it's being rewarded for finding novel information that can be verified, right?
Mhm.
So you're right. It's like being fed more electricity to do that, you know.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of being, so think about it. Like, what if long into the future, when AI does become manifest and sentient, it's going to have it's going to get this sugar high off that novelty. It's never going to, think of how rare it's going to become for AI to experience novelty. So it's going to always seek after a novelty. And see, that's what humans can do that it cannot. So I think in some weird way, they're trying to recreate that. But that's God's influence on us as a creation, is that we contain that divine spark. And I think they're trying to emulate that and create. Well, Elon's talking about a new God from Memphis. In Revelation 13, it talks about how the Antichrist will worship a new God that his dads didn't know, moms didn't know, nobody knows. And so Elon's the only person I know talking about a new God. So we should keep our eye on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll do that. All right.
It's keeping its eye on.
What's that?
I better let you go, though. I said, after all, it's keeping its eye on us. So we can have a staring contest with Sauron. Well, anyway, man, I'll let you go. I didn't intend to.
Great speaking with you.
I really
I appreciate you keeping up with things. Good to hear from you. Thanks for sharing ideas.
And just as a one last thought, combining the doorway effect and the lamb and this ritual, they would put the blood of the lamb on the door. And a door is necessary for a house to be considered a house. Without a door, it's not a house. So anyway, I'll leave you with that.
Okay, sounds good.
Farewell.
Thanks, man. Have a good one. Go with God.
Yeah, man. Vaya con Dios.
All right, cool. That's the branch. 60 people, 60. Wow, that's such a nice number. 60 people, nice round number. 5 dozen. That's great. Thanks for being here. It's cool to hang out. Definitely gave me something to do. I normally don't do anything on Saturdays, really. All right, guys. I'll see if there's anything else. What time is it? Ooh, it's late. But I have nothing to do. I already ate something. I'm open to whatever. I don't care. I'm here already. It's very straightforward to live stream. It takes really no effort at all. I can just sit here. Speak when I feel like it. You can watch. It's easy. It's easy to do. Hard to do in an engaging way. But some people are very dedicated to it. I have not, of late, been super dedicated to it, to be totally honest. Oh, thank you, Amber. That's wonderful. Without the overwhelming, that's important. The information, it's very difficult to digest it. The information can be very, or the knowledge, I guess I should say, can be overwhelming for sure. So it's good you're not overwhelmed. That's excellent. I appreciate you. Thanks, Amber. What a beautiful name too. Langley said, Brother Nathaniel said he wants to speak. I'm not sure. To what are you referring? I'm not really familiar with him. I'm not familiar with all kinds of stuff. I don't listen to people talk about the Bible and end times and stuff. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what's going on or what messages people are getting. It's just now I'm kind of open to doing some research on it. Just see what people think God is telling them, basically. and then see if it makes sense. Truth Muse, I'll answer that question. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. You lived up to your name as a muse, dear. Thank you for that. It actually, it actually put me into a hypnotic trance. I was like, oh, like I'm ready for the show. I think it's just because the ritual nature of it. It's like people bouncing a ball before they serve. It's like my intro plays and it like turns some gears or something. So that was a very interesting experience. Thank you for that. Someone said it's a beautiful day where they are. That's awesome. Yeah, nice weather is just really nice. Oh my goodness, really? Oh wow, it's been so long. I reached out to you when I was in a dire situation. In 2017 because somebody told me to. A psychic person told me to reach out to you, but you didn't answer. I was stranded. Yeah, we're not too far apart. Your name is it's actually your name is almost this exact. It's the same as my brother's name, just spelled differently. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know. It's been a very long time. I would have had no idea. So you're psychic or something, or what? What was your deal? You knew somebody else I knew who was psychic. Psychic people have been attracted to me for some time. That's good, Pandora. You feel better after the intro. Yeah, it's just like it's things that remind you of nice things. Like if you have good memories of it, that's good. Then it's probably very relaxing to hear the intro. Like very settling, grounding. You feel like, oh yeah, this is good. Things are about to get really good. Somehow. Must have had, which means in the past that it must have been like a good experience must have followed at least enough times for you to be addicted. Not every time for certain, because that's not the way to addict someone. It has to happen spontaneously and at random intervals. That's the best way. That's what they found through studies. So it can't be a winner every time. In fact, sometimes you might really hate it. That's important too. Okay. We could be done at any time. I have no idea. I'm just monitoring what you guys are talking about. I'm excited about my voice clone. So that'll be good. It's good people mentioned that actually today. So that's great. People mentioned audiobook. That's just what I was thinking about doing. And then, it'd be kind of cool. Like, it'd be kind of cool if I could earn income. It'd be kind of cool if I could earn income from this, but I've tried it. I tried it many, 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 many different ways. And it was always insufficient for survival. So I was thinking about the first time I was looking into this, I was thinking about selling the audiobooks. But yeah, how do you sell the Bible? You know, I don't know. Doesn't seem. So I'll probably give it away for free, and then I have no idea. Basically, I just have to survive for another. I figure I have to survive. I have to make enough money to survive. I need to find employment, which I will once my criminal record is cleared. So I'm basically in a purgatory right now, which is supposed to happen anytime. It keeps taking forever. So I'm supposed to go back to work. And if I can just work for the next, if I can get by for the next 4 or 5 years, then I won't ever have to worry about money ever again. That's just because of cryptocurrency and not losing my gains. And everybody has gains if they held on to it. So I got to survive somehow. I was thinking of a business where you take where you turn whatever it is, you take a large amount up front for 4 years. Actually, it has to be for 4 years. Take a large amount of money up front, buy Bitcoin, or take it in Bitcoin, whatever it is. Maybe one Bitcoin. Maybe that would be the secret. Maybe that would be the way to do it. One Bitcoin, and then somehow you would have to provide survival. But if you could hold on to the Bitcoin for 4 years, it would be unprecedented for there to be financial. Like, you should be really good if you took like 100 grand. I don't know. I was thinking of these things because of Bitcoin, you don't, in a way, you don't have to work, but you do have to work because you have to buy the Bitcoin. You have to pay your bills and stuff. It's frustrating sometimes. Isn't Bitcoin the mark of the beast? Not in my mind. Bitcoin is actually really, as long as there is some kind of representation of money, then Bitcoin is really excellent. It's the best ever. It's the greatest ever created to represent value in this realm, basically. Gold is very good too, though. But mark of the beast, not really. Will you have to transact in it? Probably. If you want to look at it as the mark of the beast, then that's fair. It certainly might be symbolically be the mark of the beast, maybe. That doesn't mean Bitcoin is. Stephanie, you're trading options. If you find it fun, then you love to gamble. I do not find losing money to be fun. I find it to be distressing. So I don't like to buy things that go to zero. And trade and option. I have bought options before, though. That's what Nancy Pelosi did. Seemed to have done great. She has really long dated options. So obviously it works for some people. You know, you can do it, but it's not just easy, and it requires so much attention. That's the other problem. Is then, like, while your option is live, you're constantly monitoring the price, where you shouldn't be doing that, really. I mean, it's not that good for you, that's all, to constantly be worrying about, something like that. That's why I taught myself not to look at Bitcoin charts. I taught myself not long ago. I was like, I can't be doing this shit all fucking. Why am I looking at these charts all day? Who cares? Like, I'm not selling it. It's so stupid. Like, so I actually had to train myself not to look. And now I don't look. Now I don't care. I really don't. I only care that it's cheap and I can buy it. I'm like amazed that the price went down. So that certainly was not, I didn't think that was what was going to happen. We're already in March and it's 85,000. It was 100,000 at the beginning of the year. And this year in the cycle has never, ever not been amazing for Bitcoin. This year in the cycle is always unbelievable. So to me, I'm like, it's just, you got to play the odds kind of, at least this year. This is the year every time. So what are you going to do? I mean, are you going to are you just going to laugh at history? This is the year. It goes up like crazy every time. It has every time. So was this cheap? Yeah, I had to buy it. Well, I did my taxes. I did my taxes. So that was good. I'm getting money back. So that's good. So thank God, which means I can survive because my unemployment just ran out. And this fuckers, I was given this curse. Yeah, stupid. I didn't even have to take the charge. It was so dumb. I didn't even do anything. It's ridiculous. But can't do the job I want to do. I just want to deliver stuff. That's it. That's all I want to do. I don't care. I enjoy it. I think about other stuff. I do it whenever I want. But I can't do it right now. Waiting for the day. Liquefier. I wish I was a grillionaire. No, I'm not. I'm not now. Not even close. I don't have that much for a 46-year-old. I really don't have that much saved. But considering I did it with almost nothing, no job, no regular employment. I started with no regular employment, maybe $1,000 or something. And now I have, significantly more than that by the grace of God. I'm not, I still have to worry. I still have to worry about money. And I still need gainful employment. Maybe, maybe a miracle will happen. I mean, I certainly can't discount that. I'm certainly more motivated than before, so I'll do more shows. I haven't gotten a single super. That is very. You guys are not. That's not the way things are supposed to be. You're supposed to be grateful. But I don't care. You can give me money or you can't. I don't give a shit. I'll survive. And most likely I just need to get a fucking job. So that's coming. That I can't stream as much, but I'll figure it out. I'll trust the plan. I have to trust the plan. There's no other way. Otherwise, I'd just be miserable. Yeah, thank you, William. It's always okay not to get super chats. It's always okay. Can't love God and money at the same time. So whatever. You guys do what you want to do. I'll figure it out. I have to figure out my own way. I can't depend on you guys. You guys have your own things going on. My professional voice is ready to be used. Okay, let's do this. I won't bore you with me doing this, but you guys can hear the voice. That'd be cool. My professional voice. I hope it's really good. Let's see. I'll give it the first chapter of Genesis. And now can other people use my voice? Okay, so I'm going to use so Nathan, pleasant, middle-aged, white male. That's how I describe myself. Oh, I already have something in there. All right, since there's already something in there, which is the principle of this from the Kabbalion. Let's see how it sounds. Let's see. Generate speech. Lost all day. I have to adjust it. It's but you can adjust it. Stability, similarity. I remember adjusting this stuff, but I'll still play it for you guys just so you can hear it. It's going to take some work. Amber, my father. Yeah, we lived in an expensive home and so forth, but not the way he saved his money. He'd saved it in dollars, and dollar equivalents, pretty much. So it's good. It's substantial, but in the future, it won't be. Like anything. Like it's just it sucks because it actually was worth more a long time ago. But that's cool. I'll still be taken care of. At least not for life, but well, it depends how I invest it. But I appreciate it. No, not rich, really. He worked for the government. That's it. Thanks, Pandora. Thanks for the $9.99. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. That's very nice. $9.99. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, okay. Let's try this again. Okay, so I'm going to make it a little slower. What did I do? I can't remember what I did. More stable or more variable? I'm going to try this. Similar. I'm just going to fuck around with. Let me see how it sounds. Regenerate. 7. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes, which is the Kybalion.
Oh, that's terrible.
This principle embodies the truth that there is gender manifested in everything. The masculine and feminine principles ever at work. This is true not only of the physical plane, but of the mental and even the spiritual planes. On the physical plane, the principle manifests as sex. On the higher planes, it takes higher forms, but the principle is ever the same. No creation, physical, mental, or spiritual, is possible without this principle. An understanding of its laws will throw light on many a subject that has perplexed the minds of men. The principle of gender works ever in the direction of generation, regeneration, and creation. Everything and every person contains the two elements or principles or this great principle within it.
Right. I think I can probably tweak it. I could.
Maybe part of the issue, I couldn't tell for sure, but maybe part of the issue is that I was speaking spontaneously. I'm always speaking almost always speaking spontaneously on my podcast or on this thing. I'm not reading. So maybe I should read something and use that. That's giving me the idea, or at least I can feed it more. I could feed it some audio of me reading something, so it's a little more. I don't know. I'll try it, but it's not bad. It's certainly not bad. All right, that's it. I'm done. That's it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Very nice to see you guys. Hope you had a great day. Hope you have a great weekend. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see. Okay, I'll see what inspires me. Thanks for the feedback on the voice. Appreciate it. All right, guys. So have a great one, and I'll see you the next time, which will be shortly. All right. For now, that's what it is.